privilege to actually be standing here, because I certainly just represent one person in the midst of this village that's actually making this change for us. I've got 2 slides, if you'll persevere with me, and the intent is not necessarily to give you the ins and outs of our lead journey, but it's more to set the context of what you're actually going to be seeing outside of this corridor and downstairs. There's a lot of language and phrases, and I'm hoping to capture some of the most salient ones here. So, in continuing our continuous improvement journey, that did not start necessarily with Lean. It started way back when we actually started to exist. The year 2000 was a very hard year for us. There was a lot of soul searching. We could actually say that the continuous improvement journey started then. So we've passed, and many of yourselves, who are ex-colleagues of ours in PDO, actually helped us through those days of OMR and the new operating model. In 2009, we took the next step in our continuous improvement journey by launching our lean deployment. Now, lean deployment is indeed continuing that continuous improvement mindset. And when we started, like many companies do, we started with pick up a few tools and see what is this lean all about, because lean is renowned for being a tool that is used very well in the manufacturing industry. So we picked up 20 projects actually, and we looked at whoever was smiling brightest on that day of our youth in PDO, and we assigned them the project lead roles. We gave them some assistance. We then addressed the MPC, and we asked where are the big pain points, and what we wanted there was to actually just get a feel of if this piece actually works for us. Well, as you will see in our timeline on the screen there, we did that for about 1.5 years. Every single one of the 20 projects plus that we undertook produced undeniable success, either in taking money out or streamlining our processes, efficiency, reducing inventory, you name it. But by middle of 2010, we realized that 1, lean works in our industry. 2, it produces tremendous value, but the value that it created was a drop in the sea of what would actually be attained if we were to actually deploy it across all our business. 3, and most importantly, what we also knew, that we cannot continue with standalone implementation of lean, where we actually just apply it standalone in one project. So there was a lot of soul searching. A few of us went on what we call the first executive go see. We wanted to go see what a mature lean company looks like, how it operates, how it feels like, how the corridors smell. Because trust me, a mature lean company actually does all of that. So we were very enlightened when we came back, and as you can see there's an MDC away day between 2010 and 2011, somewhere around the end of Q1 of that year, and we took stock. And you'll see that taking stock in lean is a feature of how we do business. So we took stock in 2011, and we understood that a lean transformation is required to enable this journey. We also understood in our visits that the leaders have a critical role to play, and they must play it with full knowledge and full understanding of what they're embarking. So we decided between the MDC away day, the first one, and then the next MDC, which is really Q1 the year after, that the whole of the MDC would actually be trained in the language. We would set and manage the expectations of what it means for us to truly embark on a lean transformation. That actually required many hours of the whole MDC going through training. Took about 4 months to catch every one of us in the first several sets of what we call lean managers training. In the process, we also captured another 50 of the people reporting to us. So by then we had started with the deeper appreciation of what it takes to deploy lean. We then had that kickoff execution, and there the feature of that was about aligning principles, guiding principles, creating a governance and resourcing structure, and coming up with what is called a compelling case for change for ourselves. success that this company can really be proud of, steady steps in the ER journey. So we did not start Lead because we were in a crisis. We actually started Lead because we were looking ahead of us, and we knew that the world ahead of us is actually very complex. It requires more resources, high cost, which meant for us at the time we needed to lay the foundations way back then to deal with that future. So that was our case for change. The role of leadership is one that you hopefully will experience today. We certainly understood that up front. Our governance structure is actually headed by Rahul and Amran, and it involves every single member of the Managing Directors Committee. And a huge network of lead professionals, which I'll talk about later. Our aligned principles actually fits one slide. It's a set of about 6 guiding principles for us. We hold them very dear to ourselves, very close to our hearts. The 2 most important is change actually is driven by the top layer, by all leadership, starting from the top. And lead is actually a frontline activity. Our role as leaders is just to remove barriers, is to enable them. The second guiding principle that is equally important is building internal capability, which is what today is all about. Building internal capability is the only sustainable way for moving forward. And then we have a few more guiding principles. So we launched in a big way, and this marked the start of our lean transformation. We followed up by now exercising this new deployment model. We implement again successfully equally successful projects. We saw the value. We then embarked on the cultural piece. Very difficult, but as you can see, the theme of 2013 was about learning how to sustain what we've implemented, because that is the hardest piece. We can implement projects that we know we do it year in, year out. How to sustain it, the discipline that is actually required, is what this is all about. Today we've taken, just in the last few months, yet another deep review. We're redirecting the journey again. Next slide, please. Some key phrases, and you'll see them downstairs. We then, as part of this lean transformation, we went from standalone projects that produce value to moving to value streams, because that is where you unlock some serious value. We started slow, so we started with 3 value streams, and we grew as it became necessary. So it wasn't necessarily about big scope, it was about steady steps of actually ensuring that we understand what it takes. So today we actually have 6 value streams. We've got more than 2,000 staff that have gone through lean awareness sessions. We've got our contractors going through them. We now have some external demand from our government, which we're elated about. We've got most of our managers, or many of them, have gone through managers training. Tons of improvement projects, as you can see them over there. And 170 lean practitioners as we currently speak. 62 have been certified. What certification means is that they've actually developed and implemented successful projects. And 10 internal lean coaches who, for us, are the backbone of our internal capability. So the phrases that you'll hear downstairs is lean value streams, so you'll see them downstairs. You'll also hear about lean value stream leads. So every single one of these value streams is owned by a member of the MDC. We actually have a lead who reports directly to him or her, so we're shortcutting all the bureaucracy, and we're saying if there's a constraint to be lifted, you've got that solid line with myself. We also have a network of lean practitioners who will be manning the stalls downstairs, and we'll take you through some of their projects downstairs and up here. And we have the managers, who are the unsung heroes behind the scenes, who, if they didn't actually play ball on this one, this change doesn't go anywhere. So today, in many ways, you'll see that we've done a role of leadership in that. We're guided by some very strong guiding principles that we created for ourselves to suit our company. And we do very regular checks, and we will not shy away from redirecting the journey as frequently as necessary, but keeping those guiding principles intact. That has been our secret of success so far. I have no doubt, because indeed Raoul talks about we've reached a tipping point. I call it also, because that's kind of my background on change management, I also call it the emotional tipping point. I see far more pull today and the desire to get on with it, rather than, you know, what does bleed mean to me and so on. We've created enough success to know that this is the right thing for our company. It's also the right thing for our country. So, in closing, thank you very much for honoring us with your visit. On behalf of the MDC, I'd like you, our honored guests, to honor, celebrate, thank the real backbone of this transformation journey. And they're sitting behind us. If I may ask all the lead professionals in this room to stand up.